All right. We are back. A little late, but got it figured out. It is Monday, so it's time for Nerdcamp Sports. Raj, how you feeling tonight, my brother?
Man, I'm feeling great. Excited. The finals is underway very, very soon. I think in the next hour or so. So, lot to talk about, lot to cover.
Absolutely. What were your thoughts on Game 4?
Game four, I would say it was a very interesting game because it came down to the wire. And this is something that I believe um, Oklahoma definitely was prepared for. That's the reason why they won. But it's not something I think they need to take lightly. So I thought it was a very good game. I thought a lot of it relied on Shea Gilders Alexander scoring. And then on the other end, with the Pacers, there were just a lot of guys that just didn't step up and just close out the game because they were up. I believe it was like 15 points in the first half. I mean, second half, going into the second half, and then they just lost. They lost it. So, I look at it like this. I think if they look at how they won, they probably they probably wouldn't be able to figure it out exactly. But OKC needs to take this serious because if they lose tonight, it's going seven. It's going seven, man. I mean, I know they could probably win again on the road, but it's best of three at this point.
Right.
So I have a feeling it's going to go 7 games.
Well, I'm going to tell you why. OKC didn't win that game. Indiana lost it.
Right.
And I got a couple of things from that game. They outplayed them the whole game.
Yep.
But when we got into the fourth quarter and they started closing the gap, Indiana made delicate mistakes that cost them the game.
Yep.
You can't have those kind of turnovers. You can't be missing free throws. You can't do those things. You allowed OKC to say, okay, we got this.
Yep.
Because when the game came down on the line, SGA is going to be SGA. So when I look at this game and I take into account everything that has happened or everything they've done, they definitely survived that game. Now, on paper, OKC should be a 3-1.
Right.
But it's 2-2. So, if I'm OKC tonight, I'm coming out like I came in game 2.
Right.
Aggressive, successful, taking smart shots, doing the right thing. Because if you don't, and you allow the Pacers to win, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be extra hostile in Indiana. So I expect SGA to come out aggressive. Holmgren has been big. You know. So
Yeah.
look at those things. You look at Holmgren, you look at Jalen Williams, you look at the team's totality. That's what it's on. And the Pacers, they got to respond. They need
Right.
Halliburton to be Halliburton. They need him to be himself every game.
Yep.
Portions of it ain't gonna work.
Right.
Whole game. And if he can't do that, I believe OKC will be ready.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this game is going to tell it all. You know, they say I believe 80% or more that win Game 5 win the championship. There's a chance of them winning the championship. So if they pull off this victory, like I said, if OKC falls and they don't win, and the Indiana Pacers pull off this victory, they're in a bad spot. They're in a bad spot. But I do believe they find a way to win on the road in Indiana if they lose tonight in OKC at home. So, but one thing I do know is that you can't count the Pacers out. They got a great coach. They got veterans on the team that know how to win. You got Pascal Siakam that can, close out games. You got Tyrese Halliburton that's been extremely clutch. So there's not that much space for mistakes. And if they don't have an opportunity to put their foot on their neck in the first half, they're coming swinging second half. You best believe that. So they need to blow them out by 20, at least by 20 by halftime.
Absolutely. And they need to also figure out how to do that.
Right. Exactly. So there's too much. There's too much for them. I'm telling you, I'm looking at this whole team, and I'm like, yo, they got some players on here, man. T.J. McConnell stepped up. You have Aaron Naismith, he stepped up. I know they were having a good game last time, but you gotta believe, you best believe they're gonna turn it around. You got what's his name? Nimhard that can shoot.
Yeah.
He can put up a good amount of points. Their defense is stagnated. You got Ben Mathurin. He can put up Benedict Mathurin that can put up some points and also play great defense.
But let's be honest, he lost game 4 for them. The fouls.
Oh yeah. You gotta be smarter than that.
The turnovers, like he was a big reason why they lost.
Yeah. You gotta play smarter, but that goes to show you. What if they didn't do that? What if it was 2 or 3 less fouls, right? The game was, what is it, 103, 111 to 103 or something like that? So we're talking less than 10 points. We're talking 6-7 points. So all you need is just to hold the ball, play smarter. So I guarantee they went back to the lab. They said, okay, guys, we split the series. They won one at home. We won one at their home, and vice versa. Now it's the best of 3. Like I said, whoever wins the 2 games win the series, and it's about winning at home. If you don't close out at home, you lose.
Right.
Because essentially you have 2 chances at it. So what's going on, R&B?
Right. So you got the best. You got to have the best out of 3, pretty much.
Yeah, that's the 3 situation. You got to close out your home games. If OKC doesn't do it, then it's going to be a problem going on the road and trying to close it out. I'm not saying they can't, but it's going to be a huge problem going back to Indiana and hoping to win this series like that.
So you say what?
No, I was going to say, but I do predict a game 7 because I do believe in the best of 3 is going to lead them into a situation where they're going to have to play back in OKC in game 7.
I can see that. I mean, I did say this would go 7 games. First, it was 6. But once you start watching, it's 7.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Right. Nobody took advantage of the home court advantage either. So
no. This has to be one of the most balanced finals I've ever seen.
Yep.
because there's
At
no
least in
blowout.
recent years for me. Yeah.
Been no blowouts. It's not like you got that one game where it's like, damn, they got their ass beat. That game hasn't happened. Like we understand a couple of these games.
Hold on, game 3, Indiana got their ass whooped.
What was the score? Then Indiana win.
I can't remember. It was one of
What's
the
that?
games Indiana got their ass whooped for sure.
Let's see. Hold on, let me bring it up this way. I think Indiana
I
won.
want to say it was the game. I want to say it was the game where Halliburton had like 5 points through 3 quarters, and then he came on late with like 12 in the fourth, but they was already, basically getting their ass whooped by then. I think that was either game 2. I think it was game 2.
It was 123 to 107.
Yeah.
I mean, blowout. I mean, there's more gap.
Yes, it is.
That is not a blowout.
That's a blowout, Mike. The game wasn't even that close. Those were garbage time stats that Halliburton got hot in the fourth quarter when they was already down 20 pretty much the whole game. That's a blowout.
But then you gotta.
Let me come back in. I can't hear R&B. I'm gonna come back in.
Okay. But that's the same
Why
thing.
do they never love me, Raj?
But it's like game 1. The ending score don't justify the game at all. Yeah, but he left before I heard an echo. Now he's gone. I don't hear the echo. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't call that a blowout. Now, if it was like 123 to like 90, I call that a blowout.
Bro, 123 points. You understand that they 7 points away from the 130?
I get that. Okay, well, it says he's got to add his microphone or something. There we go. All right. Can you hear everyone now?
Yeah.
I'm testing.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, but
I don't know why it's always do that. That's crazy.
Be that as it may, I mean, the games have been, you usually see 1 or 2 games in a lot of finals, not all, where it's very circumstantial, the gap between the teams in a game or 2. But to me, through 4 games, this has been one of the closest finals I've seen in totality. But if I'm looking at this top to bottom, everyone's got to show up. Like I said, I don't think OKC won game 4. I think Indiana lost it with Mathurin making the mistakes with the fouls. And you knew who was going to the line. You knew who was going to get the ball. There's no,
I disagree with that one, Mike.
Disagree with what?
This might be one of them nights here where we just disagree on a lot or agree to disagree. No, I disagree with the fact that OKC, the Indiana lost the game versus OKC took it.
They did not win it. Mathurin's fouling and his turnovers gave OKC extra shots to get to the line. Oh, Indiana handed OKC the game. I'm saying,
is that not a part? So SGA didn't do what he did. I'm
not saying he didn't, but the fact that that Indiana was up by over 20 points in the third quarter, they lost this game, and then OKC started to chip the lead. All they had to do was not make those mistakes, and they win the game.
But they made them.
But that makes my point. Those mistakes made them lose the game.
Yeah, but just because you make mistakes don't always mean that the other team capitalized and OKC capitalized.
But in this case, those mistakes lost them the game. It did.
I'm not disagreeing that the mistakes lost the game. I'll agree with you on that narrative. I just tend to not want to just look at it and say, oh, well, they made mistakes and that lost the game. Like, no, OKC has something to do with the mistakes that they made. And they had something to do with capitalizing on the mistakes that they made. SGA knocked the free throws down that everybody was saying, oh, he was free throw hunting, but he was getting fouled and he was knocking them down. And he was killing. He carried.
I don't know. I don't buy that. This game.
I agree to disagree.
Yeah, you must have been watching a different game.
No, I'm just this man here.
You must have been watching a different game.
I'm this man.
Yeah, he ain't too wise.
You Roman, right? You Roman, right?
he ain't too wise these days. I say that.
Don't forget who helped you get to where you are.
Oh. But I think that tonight, I think OKC wins. Another close game. I think it's going to be competitive. You know,
the winner of tonight's game wins this series.
That's what we were just saying before you came in. Was the game 5 winner when it's 2-2 typically wins the series. Not always.
Yeah. Not always, but I feel like the way that this one is going, the tide of how the series is going, and I have to give you your props. I don't know if y'all remember when we all had made picks the last time we were on, and Mike had predicted that he felt like it was going to go just the way it did. Where, you know what I'm saying, OKC, then Indiana, and then we going back 2-2. And that's exactly how it played out. So I got to give you your props on that one.
Yeah, I didn't know how they were going to win. I think I said OKC was going to win game 3, though. So it happened the other way around. But you know, appreciate that. I knew it was going to go back 2-2 for a multitude of reasons, just the way the games have been played. And, you know, I believe that just the competitiveness between these two teams, like you can see, they both won it. But there can only be one winner.
Yep.
There can only be one.
There can only be one winner. So who do you guys got for tonight's game?
I got to roll with the Pacers. I think the Pacers are going to come out hungry. I don't think they're going to make the same mistakes like they did in Game 4, and I also believe that it's going to be a close one. Like it's going to be one of them close games. But I truly believe in the Pacers in this series. I don't think they're going to win, but I do believe they can keep it to a point where they can bring it to Game 7.
What do you think, R&B?
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. This has been a tough series to predict. I really don't know who's gonna win this game tonight, man. The only thing I'm just staying firm. I believe whoever wins tonight takes this series and takes the championship. But I really don't know who to pick, bro. I just don't. I don't. It's just been like you said. Other than the one game that I consider a blowout and you don't, all of these games have been straight down to the wire. You know what I'm saying? Could have went either way. And we've seen some late heroics. We've seen some suspect calls, you know, however people want to say it. You know, we've seen a little bit of everything. And I just don't really know which way to go with this one. So since I have to pick, I'm gonna just go ahead and go with OKC. I pick OKC to win this series, so I'm picking them to win this tonight, and I'm thinking that they're gonna go ahead and take this home. But I just really don't know because, as we all have said, Indiana was deep, well coached, and we felt like with those advantages that it would be able to keep them in the series, and it's been proven true.
Yep.
We'll see how that rolls. But I want to take a second and talk about the trade that happened over the weekend. I forget if it was yesterday or Saturday. I don't remember. But Desmond Bane has been traded to the Magic for KCP, Cole Anthony, and 4 first-round draft picks. Unprotected first-round draft picks, might I add.
Right.
Raj, what are your thoughts on this trade and who's the winner?
Well, I would say when I first read the trade, I thought it was for like Kevin Durant, because all I read was the draft picks and Cole Anthony. I didn't see Desmond Baines. I'm thinking, oh damn, they traded KD. But I'm thinking they did like a 3-way trade or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, Orlando won. Orlando won, even though they feel like they gave up a lot. I honestly believe Desmond Baines is in a position where he can help them win now. And from the indication of what Memphis is doing out there, I think they're blowing the team up. I think they're going to get rid of everybody. I think they're going to get rid of like we was talking about earlier,
Jaren Jackson Jr.
Triple J. They're going to get rid of him. They're looking at places for Ja Morant to go, because Ja Morant have not been who they thought that he could have been, I guess, or they feel like he took a huge step back. They fired their coach last season unexpectedly, and a lot of stuff has changed in Memphis. So when you're looking at the Grizzlies, they don't have the same core like they used to, and their window is pretty much closed when it comes down to competing and being contenders. So yes, they got the draft picks, they got Cole Anthony, that's great, but let's be real. The Magic, they can easily make the playoffs next season. They can make it for the next 3 to 5 seasons. So those draft picks are probably going to be late rounders. And then on top of that, like you're grabbing up pretty much whatever you can to rebuild your organization. So like I said, my original statement was I think Orlando won, because if you get Pablo Banchero, Desmond Baines, Franz Wagner on the same squad and showing up, they can easily make it to the second round or even the Eastern Conference Finals if they play hard enough. So you never know, because they played pretty good last season. So in my opinion, I think the Magic won, but I do feel like they're going to blow up that Memphis team in the next couple of weeks.
You want to take it R&B first?
If I may, because Raj,
we looked at each other the same
usual. Way. You're wrong as usual. You are wrong, sir.
Let's hear it.
I don't disagree with you that Desmond Bain ending up in Orlando could be an immediate impact for them and possibly help them be competitive in the East. I don't see championship contender. I see Eastern Conference contender, maybe.
Yeah, me too. No, I don't think they can. I don't think they can make it to the finals.
We'll see how it shakes out. But the reason why I say you're wrong about this is because, man, whenever you are able to pull away 4 first-round draft picks unprotected for a non-All-Star, I'm sorry, man. I gotta say you won that trade.
That's a heist.
You gave up Cole Anthony, and you gave up, you know what I'm saying, KCP. 4 first-round draft picks unprotected for Desmond Bain, and that's not saying that. I understand that it's a business, it's a certain market and stuff, and it's a going rate. But I just maybe we just getting old because it's getting to a point to where it's like, what the fuck? Like I'm sorry, Desmond Bain is really a fringe all-star. To be honest with you, I mean not even. I mean my bad, not even a fringe all-star.
Not even a fringe, yeah.
Like but he's not a scrub. He's not a bum. He can ball. Don't get me wrong, but he's not worth 4 first-round picks unprotected, man. Memphis won this deal, in my opinion. I don't think they're going to trade Ja Morant. That's just my opinion. I really don't. I think that the contract and everything surrounding him, things that he's been through off court and on court when it comes to the injuries and stuff like that, not being available 100% of the time. I think it's just going to be extremely hard to move him right now. So I think Memphis, basically, I think they're going to roll with a combination of Ja Morant. They're going to see what they can get out of Zach Edey. They they may use these draft picks as leverage to make another move or two. And when the draft comes around, who knows? You know what I'm saying? Who knows? Or maybe you're right. Maybe they do surprise us and trade John Morant, but me personally, I don't think that's gonna happen. I just because of the stuff that I just said. I think it's too much weight to carry there with the John Morant situation. So I think Memphis is gonna have to figure it out. They're gonna have to find a way to build around them because at the end of the day, this fucking John Morant, you know what I'm saying? We're not talking about
Yeah,
Cole Anthony or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
right.
I'm sorry, but we ain't talking about Cole Anthony. We talking about John Morant. So there's no way you shouldn't be able to, build a team around someone of that talent. And we see what this is a team that was top 3 in the West last year for most of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, like, like it's not that hard. I wish I could be in some of these positions, man. I really do. I wish I could have a team and just be in some of these positions where we can make these decisions for one franchise, and it's not that hard.
All right, but let me ask you a question before Mike, you give your take. What do you think the direction is for Memphis then? Now that they got rid of Desmond Baines, like, do you feel they're still trying to get back into contention? Do you feel they're trying to go back into the lottery? Like, what do you think their position is right now in Memphis?
I do. That's what I was just breaking down. The fact that you got 4 first-round picks unprotected for Desmond Bain, one of them, let's not forget, belonging to Phoenix for next year, who we all believe will probably be a lottery team next year. That's
Oh,
leverage.
I
So
didn't know
that's
about that
now
Phoenix.
now you've leveraged yourself to still had John Morant. You got Zach Edey, who you drafted last year. You got a couple young pieces, that looked pretty good for you last year. You brought in a defender and KCP, who's gonna have something to prove because he had a down year last year. You brought in another point guard that could spell next to and also play behind John Morant and Cole Anthony, who's is very, very serviceable as a point guard. So you know what I'm saying? And now you got those picks to go along with it to leverage yourself to make moves. So make moves. That's what I think the direction is. They got to make moves. They got to build.
Okay.
This got to be a quick rebuild, quick on the fly rebuild.
That's
That's
fair.
why you get those
I didn't.
4
I didn't.
picks.
Yeah.
Like
I didn't
you
know.
telling, if you the GM when you get that call, you like 4 picks. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Nah, for real.
I can make that work.
But I wasn't aware of the Phoenix pick. That's why I was saying, as far as the Magic's pick, like the Magic, I don't think they're going to be a lottery team. I think they're going to be,
No,
in the
the
future.
Magic won't be a lottery team, but these are still first round picks.
Yeah,
They're
true.
they're valued.
Yeah,
It's just like in the NFL. You can win the Super Bowl and you could be picking 32nd. That 32nd first round pick is very valuable because it's a first round pick.
true.
It's top 32 of hundreds. So you know what I'm saying?
I would say this, that the Memphis Grizzlies are definitely the winners. And I would say that the Magic, I don't want to say they're losers in this, but they mortgaged to continue to grow the team around a guy that's not going to get them over the hump. You got this guy, Desmond Bain. When he's on, he's on. But guess what? When he's off, he's off. So there's
And he's undersized.
Yeah.
other than
He
shooting,
can shoot, though.
other
He
than
can
that,
shoot.
though, what does he offer? What does he offer? What does he offer to a team, to the Magic, correction, to make them more successful? I mean, I would say he's a defensive liability. I would say that, he's not really one to get his own shot. He doesn't go to the drive to the rim. So for me, You pretty much got rid of a former sixth man of the year and a dog who could attack the basket and on any given night give you 20, 6, and 5 for a guy who could be inconsistent for 40 games and doesn't get you any closer to where you want to be. And, well, I won't say that. But he doesn't get you to where, obviously, what every team should want coming into a season.
Championship contention.
Yes. Well, you want a championship, period. But he don't get you there. And now you're stuck with this in this nasty contract that Memphis gave him, and you mortgaged those 4 first-round picks. Like, are all 4 going to be all-stars? No. But you know what? 2 of them could be. 1. You might get 1 good all-star. You might get 1 great role player or 6-man, and then you might get 2 scrubs. You don't know. But chances are you're going to get at least 2 of those 4 players. And now you've mortgaged that. So now when you start talking in a few years, Banchero's going to want some bread, right? He's going to want bread, and he's going to want to be in a winning situation. And if the Magic cannot provide that, well, I'm sure they can provide the money. They'll have the money for him. But if they can't provide that winning situation, he might want to go elsewhere. So I just think that that this was a good move for Memphis, to R&B's point, because he has, there's a lot of leverage. And the things about Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr., they're just rumors that I read before we came on the show, which is why Raj brought him up. Speculation at most. But they might blow him up, but then again, Ja Morant, he's a talent. His only weakness, in my opinion, is his 3-ball. He's not really a good 3-point shooter. He can shoot it, but he's not prolific at it, if you will. But he can do just about anything else. Good defense. He can pass. He can get to the rim. Obviously, we know he can dunk his ass off, but I see the Magic, though, for sure, getting to the second round next season. That I can see that. Possibly be contender, get to that to threaten, because we also got to look at this. I read Jaylen Brown also had a surgery of some sort. I don't remember on what. I read it the other day.
He has some what they call them when they get the knee cleaned out.
Okay, like a scopic or scopic or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So okay. I didn't know how it was, but we already know.
They said he should be ready for training camp.
Okay, so he'll be all right. But the Celtics are washed this season. Without Tatum, hell, even with Tatum, we already know what they bring to the table, but especially without him, right? So now someone's got to fill that void, right? Or that gives another team an opportunity. The Celtics, I think, will still make the playoffs, obviously. Maybe 5th place, 6th place. But that's an opportunity. That's an opportunity. For sure. So, Raj, I'll let you take this one first. You brought up Mr. Durant.
Right.
What have you heard about him as of late in the rumors swirling around him?
Well, we pretty much covered what he was saying about him being traded to the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah.
But now they're talking about other teams as well. So I would just nothing too crazy. I was just trying to point out he's going to definitely probably be traded. They're saying probably by not the what do you call that? The draft, before the draft starts or around the draft time, during the live actual draft happening, because they're trying to move on that deal as fast as possible. so they can go into building back what they have with Phoenix. I know they're saying that they already signed a deal with Devin Booker. They signed him to an extension. So it just looks like Kevin Durant's going to be the one that's going to be moved. So at this point, I don't know. There's a lot of talks. They're saying Miami again. I know they mentioned the Knicks, and of course, like we talked about last week, the San Antonio Spurs. Honestly, I think his best bet will probably be go to Miami and just ball out there. Because if he goes to any major team that's actually contending, or a team that's in young and up and coming team like the Spurs, he's gonna have too much on his shoulders to do it. Because we know how he does. He gets to a team and he kind of it goes into like this Kevin Durant like whirlwind. They don't even focus on actually winning. It happened in Brooklyn. It happened in the later years of the last year of Golden State, and it also happened in Phoenix. But I think those are the three teams that they're focusing on: Miami, San Antonio, and of course New York. So that's the latest update I've watched and seen.
I've heard New York is out and Houston is in.
Okay.
I think maybe New York is still in, but I read the other day that they weren't pursuing him supposedly.
Right.
I read that report earlier, so I think you might be right on that one, Mike.
So, okay.
I don't know.
I kind of want to go a little more in depth with my take, if that's all right. When I look at the three proposed teams, right now, the first thing is the Phoenix has not said that they were going to trade with any of these three teams. At this point, they're just looking to move them because they know they're stuck with Beal. Because I was reading earlier that him moving is unlikely, not impossible, but unlikely, right? So, okay, let's look at the Miami Heat.
But he wrong for that.
What's that? Who's wrong for what? Beal?
Bradley Beal. Yeah, man.
Yep.
Waive the no trade clause, man. Stop being a sucker.
I agree. But he's not going to do it.
When I look at it's all about control. He's got all the control, right? So when I look at the Miami Heat, weren't they a play-in team last year?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Or this year, however you want to put it.
Yeah, this season, yeah.
So, and were
they were playing last year too?
I think last year too. So now, what you got Jimmy Butler, who's aging. Obviously, Kevin Durant is too. You got Bam still there.
Oh, Jimmy Butler's in our Golden State.
Oh, Jesus. I forgot he's gone. So now, who's even there?
Bam and Tyler Hero. Two All-Star.
Okay. And they still got Scary Terry too.
Rozier. So to me, I understand. I can agree with that take, Raj, because if he goes there, there'd be no expectation, really, right?
Right.
Now, but the other flip side of that is him going there might bring in other people to say, let's give it a run. So they might, if they are able to pull it off, they might become attractive, right? People might say, oh, Kevin Durant's there. Let's run it. You never know. Now, you also said during your take that him going to a young team would destroy it.
Right.
Now, I'm looking at the Houston Rockets. We understand they were the most disrespected 2 seed in NBA history, in my opinion. So when I look at them, but they still did it. They were still number 2. Got to give them their credit. But respectfully, they're gonna do if they trade them away there, or trade him there. Houston's have to give a lot up for him, possibly, or give up some key pieces that could hurt the team.
Right.
And then he's going to mess up their flow and their chemistry, possibly.
Yeah.
Then you look at the Spurs. You look at Wembanyama. Now, me, personally, I believe I had said this some months back that I thought that could be a potentially good fit for him. because, if you can keep Wemby, or if Wemby's healthy because he had the blood clot towards the end of the season. Well, Wemby's healthy. KD, Fox, depending on what you have to give up with those three guys, you're looking at a table turner possibly. But on the flip side of that, to your point, it might not go well either. And, KD has played now with a lot of Hall of Fame caliber players, all-star caliber players, and still only has the 2 championships to show that he won with Steph Curry and the Warriors.
Right.
So, he's getting to a point where it's like, bro, this is not good for you. Like, your window's shit. Your window might be closed to win another one, honestly. It might be. It might be. Not saying it isn't, because listen, he might play and sign another 3-4 year deal somewhere, not win, and then still want to play and just slide onto some random Celtic team or, random, I don't know, random Laker team or something and just win one. You never know, but go ahead, R&B.
Man, look, this whole Kevin Durant situation is quite fucking irritating, to be honest with you. I fuck with KD. I like KD, right? But I'm sick and tired of all of this, list the team shit. You know what I'm saying? This where I want to go type shit. You know what I'm saying? I get it to a certain extent. If a player, has a preference on where they may want to go to try to blend in to play ball at, I understand that, you should at least attempt to try to make those deals happen, but it shouldn't be the only avenue. Like why are we only talking about it's multiple teams that we can think of. I gave a few before, y'all know I said Detroit as well, that this dude could get traded to, that could ultimately turn the tide for that franchise, that would instantly make them title contenders. I'm not saying that the Spurs isn't one of those teams, because I believe that they are. I agree with the both of you. What I'm saying is, why are we having to limit it down to just these certain amount of teams just because this player says so? Shouldn't the team be making the trade that's going to benefit them the best and losing a superstar talent in Kevin Durant?
Right.
Yeah, you're right. And I think that's the one thing about the NBA that you have over the NFL. Like, certain players will say something crazy. Like, I remember Antonio Brown saying to the Steelers, if you trade me to Buffalo, I'm not showing up. And Buffalo pulled out of that trade, right? I get it, like, it's weird because if you are
hold on though, Mike. Put some context to that though, because we all know if they would have traded him to Buffalo and he not shown up, what would have happened to his ass in the NFL?
Yep, especially the NFL. You can't pull those moves like that.
He might have been out the league sooner than he ended up.
Yep.
I've always said this too, and I didn't mean to cut you off. Is the thing is that, but I wanted to put this in there, is if tomorrow my supervisor says, all right, Mike, you're doing this route today, and I'm like, nah, I want to do that route, and then I refuse to do the route that's assigned to me, guess where Mike's ass is going? Mike's ass is going home. So, you wanted to be traded, so to your point, so like, it's like, nigga, you going to be traded to where we trade you. Like, you don't have a clause, so because I was reading the Raptors at some point was in on it potentially. Obviously, the Knicks,
San Antonio.
San Antonio. The Spurs, the Heat. So.
Yeah, the Heat. I did hear about that. I think the Heat is one of his choices. Miami.
Yeah, I think so too.
From what I read, it's Miami, San Antonio, and Houston. But
I just don't see him going back to New York, even though he's playing obviously for the Knicks if he goes back to New York. But I don't think he wants to be there because of the scrutiny.
No, from what I read earlier today, the Knicks were one of his teams of interest that he had said that he wouldn't mind going to, but it's the Knicks themselves who have declined that they want to be in the KD sweepstakes. The Knicks backed out. They don't want him.
Well,
that's what I read earlier.
And I don't blame the Knicks because they need to figure out what they're going to do moving forward. Because KD might only be there for a year.
That's true. So, last topic I got here, since we're doing a shorter show this evening, is Raj had brought this up and I had read it earlier. The NFL, they are contemplating creating a 4-team division for a 4-team expansion overseas in Europe or wherever the hell they're going to go. I have a lot of disdain for this idea. A lot of it. Now, mainly that's because, in my opinion, this is a fucking money grab. We're just going to call it what it is. You are going to jeopardize, I wouldn't say jeopardize, but you're going to put wear and tear a lot on your players by doing this, who have to travel over there. And it's like we get it. Like a couple international games a season, I got no issues with that. It's another market, whatever. Football is very popular, but like a whole team, especially like the teams that have to play over there when they got to come to the States, back and forth, customs and just the heaviness of all that travel. I mean, it's damn near insane, in my opinion. Insane. Because now you got, 17 games? So, like, how do you play this schedule? How do you do this? It's just like, I heard players complain about it all the time, those international games. And does that include the other international games that aren't over there specifically? Like, usually they pick a team, they go over there for 2 weeks, right? Like last year, it was Jacksonville that was over there like weeks 4 and 5. I think the year before that, it was Buffalo or something like that. It's just like this isn't, I don't like that move. I don't think it's a good idea. If you want to expand the league, I ain't got a problem with that. Whatever. But
just get them their own league.
At that point, because okay, like if I'm doing the schedule, right? Let's just say they're playing the NFC West, right? How are you gonna play that? You're gonna send, you're gonna send all 4 teams over there in a row, or what? Like just the amount, like jet lag is real. Like when you on a plane, like as a normal person like us, it's tiring. Like you can only picture these guys training and dieting, and then not to mention like the time difference. Like I don't know what it is if you're on the West Coast versus there or anywhere, but like when it's might be one of those, you see it's 9:30 in the morning when they're playing those games. You know, it's like I just don't like it personally. I don't like it at all. I think it's not a good idea. I mean, like I said, I don't even think really they need to expand. You have 36 teams now.
Mm-hmm.
So now, guess what? Once here we are again, fucking throws everything off. Just like them with the NBA, they want to add 2 teams, but they're both in the West. So, like, you know, what does that mean now? Like, I don't know. What do you guys take on it? I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna say this: like it or not, it's going to happen.
Oh, of course.
It's because they. One thing I learned about the NFL is they never say no to money. They never say no to money, especially international money. Now, I get what you're saying with the scheduling. I mean, I totally agree with it. I think it's a horrible idea when it comes down to, like you said, the West Coast teams playing against we'll say the European division, right? But one thing I think they will do and possibly can do is either set up a bye week right before they start going to the playing these European teams, or have them play an East Coast team. Like let's say the Chargers play the Giants, and then of course that's like a 6-7 hour flight from New York to London or New York to Paris. You know what I'm saying? So they probably do it like that. But I don't see them Xing out this idea totally because the game is becoming very international, especially after Olympics. When this Olympics happen with flag football, trust me, there's going to be a lot of eyes watching football afterwards. I believe what's the next Olympics? 2028?
I think so.
It's 20.
I think so.
Yeah, so after 2028, you're going to see a lot of international eyes watch football because technically a lot of people don't watch football overseas. Like, you don't know a lot of, outside of the European markets. I'm saying like in the Asian market, in the African markets and stuff like that. Like you don't really know, there's not a lot of people watching NFL football. But after the Olympics, I guarantee you're going to see a huge shift of a lot of people wanting to play football. And of course, those expansion teams, those four divisions, they're probably going to play against each other most of the games. You know what I'm saying? They're probably going to have a lot of games going on, or they're going to play a lot of East Coast teams. But they'll figure it out. That's my point. They'll figure it out, and the NFL is going to capitalize on it. But sidebar, real quick, they did have their own league over there back in the 90s, I believe it was, the NFL Europe. It didn't work. It didn't work because they didn't get the same type of love and reception that the NFL did. So it failed. I believe it folded in like 2 years. But I do see them adding it into the actual league, in the NFL league, very, very soon. So we'll see what happens next 3 to 5 years.
I agree with both of y'all. Y'all expressed the sentiments very perfectly, man. I agree with Mike that it is somewhat of a clusterfuck for the players, for them to have to deal with all of the extra travel and everything that comes along with it. But then I also agree with you, Raj. We know that the NFL is they don't care because it stands for not for long anyway. They all about money. The only thing they care about being long is the money.
Yep.
So if it's money there to be had, they're gonna try to have it. Colin Kaepernick would be in the league again if it was big bucks behind it and worked.
Yep.
and picture
that's how much I believe that.
What if, and this is way far years removed, this is fully hypothetical, but I just want to hear, it just came to mind. What if they did it? Obviously, we know how it starts, right? Let's just hypothetically say they did another league over there, right? Starts with 4 teams, then it's 8, 12, 16. What if we got to a point, right, where they were like, you know how we have AFC and NFC now?
Yeah.
What if they decided there'd be a USA and an overseas Super Bowl? Meaning now instead of AFC and NFC, there's one winner from the States, and then there's one winner from the from overseas. and that would be your Super Bowl. And then each and every year they alternate, 1 year here, 1 year there, or something like that.
Right.
That's something I like. It's just obviously that's years removed, but it's something that if they, like you said, money, they don't care they don't care what they got to do to get that bag.
Exactly. And on top of that, you got to remember the NBA. This will be the first time they're doing the All-Star game with the USA players versus the international players. Mm-hmm. And I know that sounds like it doesn't even matter, but you got to think about this. A lot of these countries, like I was watching because I watch a lot of baseball too. I was watching the impact that Shohei Ohtani has on Japan. Just one player brings them billions of dollars. Just one player. I know he's a superstar. I know he's an MVP. I get that. But what I'm saying is if you got somebody like Wembanyama in the NBA win an MVP award and he does like amazing 4 or 5 year run, a lot of people in France want to play ball. A lot of people are going to look up to that. Same applies in football. If you find the next Patrick Mahomes, which probably never happened, but you find him in Europe, that's going to draw so much money, so much attention. That's why the NFL is doing it, or they putting the idea out there and seeing how people feel about it, because they realize that the market's bigger than just 400 million people watching in the U.S. It's bigger than that. They can bring it to billions where soccer is. Soccer, they make so much money because there's so many people watching it.
So many countries.
So many countries. Not even fans in just one country. There's hundreds of countries that watch it. And the NFL is greedy as hell. They're going to do it. I don't know if they're going to start another league again, but they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. And I can tell you this, it's not going to happen. It's not going to take too long for them to figure it out either. They're probably going to do it before 2030.
Well, and the other thing I want to add to that is like look at okay. Let's go back a little bit for a second here.
Mm-hmm.
When I was young, football was Sundays.
Yep.
And then I don't know the year offhand, but then suddenly my dad started watching Mondays. Might have been before. Hold on. Hey, Siri,
I think it was the 90s, the early 90s.
What year did Monday Night Football start?
It started September 21st.
1970, it says.
Oh, okay.
Well, my dad would watch Mondays. I started noticing it, as a kid. So Monday was football days, right? Yep. Okay. And then, suddenly they added in the Thursday games. Money. Then fans started complaining because they were giving us really bad Thursday games.
Mm-hmm.
Better ones now. Well, then they decided, playoffs would be on Saturday and Sunday, which was cool. But then what did they do? Now they add Saturday games.
Mm-hmm.
Now, then they add an extra game into the season. Then they add 2 extra playoff teams. Then they add a Black Friday game. I'm under the assumption there will be a point in time where the NFL is on 5 days a week. They will find a way, because you'll have the Monday game, you'll have the Thursday game. Sunday will still be the main day, but I can see them saying, "Well, we can do a Friday night game. People will watch. Well, we can do 2 Saturday games. People will watch. Like people give up their Thanksgiving Day." Myself included.
People will only watch if it's the top tier teams and the top tier talent that people want to see. People not gonna tune in and watch bullshit because they complained about that already. People have complained like, "Oh, y'all want me to have all these apps and then to pay for this shit, but then you giving me fucking the fucking Jaguars and
the Titans and the Jags."
I swear I was going to say the Jags. I was going to say like the Jags and the Titans.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Or you give me the Jags and the Chiefs and it end up being a blowout that's not entertaining at all.
Yeah.
They're like, we gave you what you wanted. We gave you a marquee team. Like, no.
No, we want competition. We want an actual game.
Or potential at having an actual game. Like,
we don't want no glorified bye week. Yeah. Yo, they be putting them on TV like remember, I think it was one of them Thursday games, man. They had Patrick Mahomes sitting on the second half. I was like, damn, what the hell?
You like, not even a little bit. The whole half, he on the bench.
He never even touched the field in the third quarter.
Like, all right, we don't need you out there. You good money, bro.
Yeah.
But that remains to be seen. I mean, it's just gonna be what it's gonna be. And they're gonna do what they want to do. Whether we like it or not. Because I'm telling you, I don't like it.
It's coming though.
Oh, you're right.
It's definitely coming.
I'm not denying that fact. But it's definitely going to be a problem. Like, for the teams. Like I said, the fans ain't gonna care. They just want to see it, And you're right. They definitely do want to see competition. I know when they was giving us those bad Thursday games, I was mad. I was like, man, what is y'all doing? Y'all gonna make me waste my Thursday night? Put something on the damn screen I want to watch. I mean, I understand you're gonna have those nights where you're gonna have a good matchup and one team's just gonna beat the other team's ass. Like, it happens. But shit, don't be giving me, like we said, don't be giving me the Titans and the Jaguars. Don't be giving me the Saints and the Raiders.
Exactly. Hit you with the Cardinals and the Cardinals and the Seahawks and stuff.
Or the Patriots and the fucking what can they do, like the Patriots and the Dolphins or some shit like that.
Yeah, they'll hit you with that.
See that shit.
I mean, like, even when I look at like so even when I look at this here, right? I'm looking at week 1 of the NFL season, right? They already started my point. Cowboys and the Eagles, September 4th. And then September 5th, Chiefs and Chargers. September 5th, Chiefs and Chargers. And then they do that doubleheader on Monday. Oh no, they're not doing it this year. That doubleheader on Monday. They used to do that doubleheader week 1. They used to do that doubleheader, but it's not here. The night game is the Ravens and the Bills. But then Monday, Vikings and Bears. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't there before.
No.
But we'll see how that goes. We're about at this 8:30 hour. It's the condensed show. Before we close it out, is there anything else you guys want to go over?
No, that's it for me.
That's pretty much it.
All right, well, enjoy the game tonight, guys. Well, R&B, you're going to bed. Listen, bro, I've been there. When I did that Nabisco job,
I'm not going to bed. I'm actually getting put to sleep.
Want to thank everyone. We'll be back next week. We'll try and get a report in later in the week. And I'll leave it to you guys to close.
I just got one question.
Yep, go ahead.
Do you got to go to the grocery store this evening, Mike?
No, I don't. Oh, that girl. Shit.
I love visits to the grocery store.
Rob,
I don't know what.
Just wear dark shades.
Oh my god.
Oh man. Well, that's all we got tonight, guys. Everyone enjoy their week. Stay up, stay positive, and we'll see you guys on the next.
Peace.
Peace.